Today is Saturday, May 2nd, 2020. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the Listener Feedback Show for Winners at War, Week 12.
2 episodes a week. We got the recap on Wednesdays, and then we turn it over to the super fans on Saturdays for the Listener Feedback Show. So we get a perspective from people all around the world, fans of the show. Sometimes they see things that you don't, and they can share them through the Listener Feedback Show.
Yay.
We look forward to that because we always learn something new through this process, and it's a great way to share our overall observations and help you get an even broader perspective on our favorite TV show. Yes, and definitely there's a lot packed into this episode. So we've got how many fans?
27.
27 folks from around the world joined in to talk about the Week 12 episode. Anything we need to cover before we dive in?
Just that if you play in JSFL, we'll announce it again at the end, but be certain you put 2 vote-off choices this week. It's a 2-hour episode.
Double. All right, here we go. Let's kick it off from Boston with Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Are you kidding me? I am shaking my head, but it was an awesome episode. I know Probst keeps saying it's the greatest season ever, but right now there's one winner that deserves big-time recognition. So nevertheless, here's a great big woo! And man, I am sad that one of my favorite winners has headed to the edge. Yes, I'm talking about Kim Spradlin. But all I'm going to say is, Kim, Nick, what are you guys thinking about? Here, take this instead. Bad Kim Spradlin. Bad Nick. How dare you guys give that Officer Tony more of an advantage, handing him immunity. Especially you, Nick. Are you kidding me? Bad Nick. Precious times call for precious measures. And Darby and Gorham are not happy. Or maybe it's Hagrid. How's this for an impression? Hagrid is going to send one of his monster creatures after you, too. Maybe it'll be Aragog the Spider or a Buckbeak will fly over you, Nick. What are you thinking? I'm just shaking my head with that. I just can't believe that Nick and Kim did that. And Kim was dying to get rid of Tony, too. That would have been an epic move. I know Tony had an idol, but I don't think that he would have saw it coming. And Ben, I'm shaking my head more and more with Ben by the minute. I'm hoping he gets blindsided in next week's double boot. I really am. But man, though, it's Tony's to lose, plain and simple. Maybe Sarah could beat him because of her social game, but Tony's gonna win this. Nick, no chance. Michelle, no chance. Whoever comes back from Edge, it's only if it's a bit of jury. And this jury, I doubt it's bitter. You heard Rob saying Tony's in charge. It's Tony's to lose, plain and simple, unless there's a major change. But I don't see it happening, and I'm really worried for my man Jeremy now. So we'll see and hope for the best. But hats off to Tony. 3 immunities in a row, and again a Darby impersonation. Bad Kim. I'm banging my head on my desk right now. Oh my goodness, I need some drinks seeing what those 2 did. And Nick too. I was in shock with those 2, but I'm sad that Kim left. But it was a great episode, guys. I gotta check out some extra clips now, if they're any good. Take care. Woo!
All right. Pete thought he was disappointed in the episode. Wait till he sees the extra clips.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I think someone's been streaming a lot.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely tell what series Pete's been into lately. Now, Tony was just amazed when he got hit by that, whatever it was, bird or bat poop there when they were sitting on the beach at night talking to Ben. Imagine how flabbergasted Nick's going to be when Buckbeat flies over and drops a bomb on him. Goodness. All right. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Christiana.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Christiana from Boston calling in with my feedback for this week's episode. Starting at the beginning, I am getting very annoyed with Ben and his gameplay. It's very erratic and he's all over the place. He'll agree with anyone he's talking to. There's no consistency and I'm not enjoying it. But I didn't understand, and I don't understand in Survivor, when people get upset for people on the bottom flipping and going behind their back. So in this case, Ben being so cold to Jeremy and so upset that he, changed the vote and ended up voting out Sophie, one of Ben's allies, when in reality, Ben was going to vote Jeremy out. So you got. So you can't be mad at that person. They're playing the game. They're saving themselves. I just don't get that. The Edge of Extinction challenge, it was fine. 2 takeaways from it. 1, props to Danny's athleticism and her endurance. She must be some kind of long distance runner, I'm assuming, because I didn't know that she would be so good at that, but she was. I know she came in 7th, but just barely. And also Sophie, didn't expect that out of her, but to come in 2nd out of all those people, pretty impressive. I don't know if she's more well energized and fed, having just left the game, but good for her for getting that token, or tokens. Tony is such a masterful player. Just like in Kagayan, he can backstab and blindside against an alliance in 1 vote, and then the next day be like, nah, it's okay, we're good, that's over, that was just 1 time, when 12 hours ago you weren't good. And his castmates just totally agree, and I don't get it. It's wild how he can have that sway among people, and right now, he's riding that all the way to his next win as far as what we're seeing right now. Moving to the challenge, what an odd way to end. People literally giving away immunity for cookies and peanut butter. I know that is an excruciating challenge. I can't imagine the physical pain that is involved. With 2 people winning immunity, there aren't that many other people to vote for. And I know Kim said that she regretted it, but truly that was a $2 million cookie for her. She should have known that if Tony was going to get immunity, she was on the chopping block, and I can't believe that she stepped out. And same thing with Nick, literally giving immunity, getting 1 fire token to totally blow up the plan. I guess he didn't care that much about getting Tony out. I don't know, but he should know that he's no chance of beating Tony in the end. Any chance of getting him out with this few people left, they need to try everything they can. I did get a vote off point, but I'm sad to see Kim go. I think she's a really smart player, and I don't think we saw her play to her full potential this game, at least what we are privy to in the episodes. But her days were definitely numbered, especially with Tony having immunity and him being aware that she was going after him. She really had no chance. But I am looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say and who people think is going next week in the double elimination. I hope everyone stays healthy and safe. Have a good week. Bye.
Excellent. Good job. Thanks, Christiana. Next up, we got an email from Robert in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. Hi, Joanna and Stacy. I thought this episode had some great moments, although I was disappointed to see the return of whispering at Tribal Council. I also don't care for these idol bluffs where people seem to be considering playing an idol, but gauge whether or not they should play it based on others' reactions. I think you should play it or not, no half plays. Shout out to Denise for saying what we were all thinking. That was amazing. I don't think Ben or Nick would fare very well if they were ever invited to play poker with the Poker Alliance. Ben would feel the urge to tell everyone what cards he has, and Nick couldn't bluff a hand if his life depended on it. Nick needs to practice what to do when he's caught in a lie. The first step is not to look around for birds in the sky. Who knew peanut butter would have such a dramatic impact on this season? People on the edge are winning advantages with peanut butter. Ben was daydreaming about peanut butter just minutes into an immunity challenge, and Kim decided that peanut butter is worth $2 million at this stage of the game. I thought my USB Michelle had a good episode. Giving Jeremy the advantage was gutsy and helped prove her loyalty to him. Michelle knows she isn't one of the Lions in this season and has positioned herself well to be brought to the end with either Jeremy or Tony. Also, I think she voted Jeremy knowing that Kim would go home, so she would get a fire token from her. Small moves like that aren't flashy, but I think they mean something in the game. Much to my delight and yours, Kim did go home, so I got another vote off point as well. Sarah goes out, followed by Tony, makes a lot of sense. I'm trying to think of where the hyenas left in the game will choose to align themselves. I think Natalie has a very good chance of getting back from Edge, and if she gets to the end, I think she can win. She's the only person from Edge I can possibly see doing this. It's hard to know how this season of all winners would view awarding someone coming back from Edge with the win. What do you guys think? Thanks, Robert. I think actually Natalie has the greatest difficulty of all, and in some ways one of the bigger advantages, because she only played in the game for 3 days. That's tough. How you come to give that to her, and she has to have exemplary gameplay. Granted, if she wins the return challenge, she's coming back in with immunity idol, so she would be good for the next tribal council and could help decide how things go from there.
But if the jury's watching her be tough as nails out there on Edge, and if she wins her way back in,
she's paid a tougher Edge price than every one of them.
That's right.
Every single one of them.
That's exactly right. Is that, wow, I know how I feel, and she did it, and she's been here longer than me. Mm-hmm. So, girl, you have my
respect
and admiration at a minimum.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
I can say as a fan watching, that is not something I want to see happen again. Because what was Chris? Chris was only 6 days in the game, I think. And it was a unsatisfying conclusion.
True, but the only thing that would make it somewhat more palatable in this instance, because we do know these people. We didn't even know Chris, really.
Right.
And but you know, they know all these people because they've played, they've won, some of them multiple times, so you would have a little more invested.
As much as I dislike it and see it as undermining the fundamental construct
of the game,
the game, as someone who's participating, I totally get how you realize it is a game, you're not out of it. And all that, hopefully, she's been working and taking advantage of that time with everyone so that she has that strong social relationship, because we saw how important that was on the Edge.
And a lot of them out there are friends in real life, and they've bonded with their struggles out there over all this period of time, especially ones that have been out there the longest and have known each other the longest. So
that's, I guess, somewhat of the significance of the extra video this week. You get one where it's Solace for Sophie, which is about comforting her as she struggles with being voted out, and everybody comes by to give her a hug or offer
and allowing
a kind
her
word.
Emotions to be fine. I really like that nobody ridiculed her in any way for having her emotions. They encouraged her to feel them and experience them and just work through it, and they were there to support her 100%, and that to me was beautiful.
What it shows is the significance of what you were saying before, of the bonding, the emotional connections that are happening out there. It's a good highlight for that. It doesn't offer a whole lot from that perspective, just like the Ben one with his failed early morning idol search didn't offer him a lot in terms of for a fan hungry for extra content, but you really do get to see some of the significance of those bonds and how they're being made out there when they're all coming by to give her a hug or offer a kind word from that perspective.
Now, say Wendell won his way back, or Adam, I don't know that they would have the same connection there. Maybe, maybe not. We haven't seen a lot of interaction between the majority of the people on EOE, which is the jury. And so I don't know that it would make a difference for them or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's the unknown.
There we go. All right, good question. Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina. I don't know about all of you, but personally, I don't see why Tony wanted Sarah's trust so badly that he even gave away to her his new spy location. Letting your guard down too much there, Mr. Vlachos. I agreed with Kim and was finally glad to see her try and have a role in the game. Too little, too late perhaps, but it's something for sure. I agree with her Tony and Sarah target 1000% that that's gotta happen soon. Ben getting caught gold-handed was peak comedy in my opinion, but shoot, I don't blame him for trying to hide it from Tony. You guys have no idea how bad I felt for Ben when Jeff brought out those cookies. That was true heartbreak if I've ever seen it before. Regardless of my JSFL picks this week, I did make one pretty good prediction, which was that Michelle would be giving her 50-50 to Jeremy that night. Too bad that wasn't worth anything, because folks, guess who just lost their third safe point in a row? At this point, I just gotta absolutely study past seasons and try and get the final 6 100% like I did for Island of the Idols. Gotta say, I am truly sad. I had Sarah going and felt confident once Sarah brought up at Tribal that her name was getting thrown around. I swear I studied Paul's visual raster for a solid 15 minutes and insisted the whole time that Kim was the least likely to go. That was demoralizing. But congrats to our Kim for getting a vote-off point this week on Survivor Kim. A shot in the dark, perhaps, but hey, she got it. Is Michelle dumb? This isn't to me mean, and it's not because of that yuppie girl accent she's got, but just why was she so insistent to both write Jeremy's name down and give him that advantage? Clearly she was under the impression that her plan was right, but that was like 6 or 7 plans ago. Even if she isn't being included on the votes, she seemed so blind to the intensity of that tribal. And if Jeremy were truly her ally, maybe, just maybe, they wouldn't have completely voted differently. Tribal whispering once more, but hey, we got subtitles this time, so I can't complain all that much. Definitely hoping moving past this season, Jeff makes the tribal whispering a thing of the past. I mean, this has to be the worst one yet. Tribal Council is just getting completely perverted by it. Next time on Survivor, 2 vote outs, sure to be enjoyable. Thinking it may finally be time for Ben's swan song, but you know what? They're darn fools for not taking out Sarah at this tribal. Not just for the sake of my JSFL, I'll look past that. But with regard to the game, she is a massive unit for Tony, and truly at this point, I think he'll beat her in the final tribal council, while she's his biggest help to get there. So I hope the rest of them are comfortable with taking out Kim this time. Joanne, you got a good point. There's a total possibility both Tony and Sarah go next week, and I hope that does happen, but you never know. All I know is that maybe my listener feedback next week will just be vocal warm-ups, because I might be singing soon. Never know. You know what? I just finished listening to the recap, and I gotta say, I'm kind of just facing the reality that, you know what, we've missed baseball and hockey and basketball and March Madness and all this stuff, and now it's coming to reality that we might miss Survivor in the fall because of what's been happening. And if I do have to sing, then it will be the best darn parody you have ever heard, because you might not get one in the fall, but Stacy, like you said, let's enjoy it while we can, and I can't be down. It's a fun game. I'm glad I'm doing the sound challenge. I'm glad for it all. Really hope we get Survivor. I like the Amazing Race well enough, but really hope we get Survivor. All right, guys. See you next time. Maybe I'll get a vote-off point. Just maybe.
Now you've made me want to cheer for you to lose, Cameron, so we can see your creativity.
That's one way to look at it.
What's up with that?
Thanks, Cameron. Let's check in with Kim.
Hey Survivor fans, this is Kim from North Carolina. I have pretty short feedback this week. The first thing is, after the tribal council, when Tony and Sarah had to go have a talk, I felt like they revealed how close their alliance was with each other within audible distance of the other people, and I thought from what we had been shown that they'd been keeping how tight they were kind of under wraps, but maybe that was ridiculous because everybody knows that they're tight anyway. I took notes on all the groups that were having conversations, and Ben was really playing both sides, and then he went and kind of spilled the beans. I keep wondering when people are going to get irritated at him for doing that and realize that he's not a very reliable vote, it seems. At Tribal Council, I thought Kim was doing what I call an atom, which is where all the talking starts and everybody tries to delay because what's going to happen is not what they want to happen. I guess you can't blame people for that, but I don't like it. So I got pooped on by a bird this week, so I guess, like Tony, maybe that's good luck. My neighbor also got pooped on by a bird, and my husband also got pooped on by a bird, but maybe that's because we're staying around the house and we're sitting outside where the birds naturally do their pooping. I don't know. I'm sorry to say that I don't think Nick is playing as well this time. He's not covering his tracks when people confront him. And I'm sad for my buddy Cameron because I know he really likes Nick. And I'm also sad for my buddy Cameron because he's kind of low down in the side challenge. And I actually told him I would help him sing if he ends up losing. And I don't think anybody wants that. And that's probably against the rules anyway. But I'm hoping he does better like I did this week because I picked him as the vote off. The last thing I want to say is, I guess with the fire tokens on the edge of extinction, it's so they can buy an advantage to get him back into the game, but I'm unclear about how the fire tokens are really working out as a great story this time. I don't really like it. Thanks for this distraction, everybody. It's been a real help for me this week. Everybody Take care, and I'll talk to you after another awesome episode that's coming up for this week. Be safe.
One more thing to add to my feedback. I think Tony, Sarah, and Jeremy would be an epic final three. Bye, y'all.
Excellent. Thanks,
That
Kim.
would be awesome.
It would be
That would be too awesome. I
It would
I don't
be
even know how to-
interesting, but does Sarah really have a story?
Oh, I think she does. She's well liked. I think.
Well liked,
I think
but
she is.
doesn't have a story in the game.
That's a strong social thing, though.
Yeah, and it could be hidden from us for sure, but I suppose all of Tony's antics recently are overshadowing for me, but I don't see Sarah, and I was thinking about this before, when Cameron and Kim were talking there through their different thoughts. Sarah doesn't have any resume, really, a narrative, other than the invisible social game, which you never really know where people are standing there.
No, you can't rule Miss Sarah out.
Certainly not, but you got to think that that's weighing on her mind to some degree. That's why she was talking about the impact that taking Sophie out had on her game when she was berating Tony so many times.
I would still think that Tony would win under that circumstance with the three, that he would still.
Part of what Kim's describing is just the byproduct of having all these great players in one season. You can come up with combinations and go, yeah, that's going to be a pretty good one. Right now, the one that's probably would have people scratching their heads the most is an end with Nick, Michelle, and Ben. And then you're yeah, exactly. It elicits that kind of sentiment when you're thinking about it, because you can't fully see it right now. Thanks again, Kim. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
There was quite a lot of information packed in this one episode, so let's dive in. I understand why Tony told Sarah about his idol, but I don't understand why he shared that information with Ben. I don't know if he gained any favor by telling him about it. If Ben didn't shut the door on talking with Jeremy about any plans, he might have been able to last longer, but since he does not talk to him, I do think Ben might be one of the next vote outs.
It's very likely.
If the remaining castaways wanted to take Tony out, then they made a big mistake by dropping out and letting him win immunity just so they could eat, which wasn't very long as it was. As for the Edge challenge this week, I was a little worried about Ethan because of how he struggled with the log challenge. He didn't finish this one, but he seemed to do fine. Rob, on the other hand, didn't make it without scrapes and bruises, and his injury did not look great at all. I kind of want to see Natalie come back into the game, since she has totally impressed me with how effortlessly she completes these types of challenges. I think it would be a crazy way to end the season if she not only comes back, but wins the game after being first voted out. What do you guys think about this?
It's definitely on people's mind this week, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I know what Jeff's next job could be, and that would be a sports announcer with how he was at Tribal. I know not everyone likes these whisperings at Tribal, but I find them quite entertaining because you never know what's going to happen after the air becomes quiet again. I was so close to having another vote out this week because I put Jeremy to go this episode. With just 2 more weeks to go, I don't know who may win this season, but the front runner right now would be Tony.
Yes, indeed.
All right, thanks, Jack. Up next, we've got a call from Justin.
Hey everyone, it's Justin from Michigan. I want to get right into the immunity challenge this week because there was a couple things that kind of bothered me for this one. Tony seemed to, even in the preview leading up to this week, I noticed he had kind of a bend on his elbow where everybody else was pretty much straight up, and some even looked like they were really, really reaching to keep their arm up. So I'm just wondering if anybody else had that same observation, and if so, that it seems like that would give Tony a little bit of an edge. And I was kind of researching online, trying to see if anybody else had that same observation. And a couple of people noted he had a shoulder injury. I don't know if that's ever been addressed. But it seems to me that if they're going to lower it for him, they should lower it for everybody. So that kind of bothered me. And then the other thing is they called Ben out for touching the structure, which is fair. That's not allowed. But at one point in the challenge, Tony actually reaches up and either comes very close or actually does touch his arm. And I wouldn't say he's supporting his arm, but Jeff kind of clarified at the beginning they made this harder where you're not allowed to even touch your arm. So to me, barely touching the structure, barely touching your arm, that would be the same thing. So actually, I mean, this might be nitpicky, but Nick could have won that challenge. You never would have been tempted. So that was just a couple of observations I had. I'm curious if anybody else noticed those same things. So going forward, they'd be foolish if they don't try to get out Tony and Jeremy at this point. Sarah, I know she feels like she's pigeonholed into working with them, but if I'm those other guys, I know I have no shot at beating either Jeremy or Tony. So I'll work for Sarah for a vote or two, try to get those two out. And then I think Nick, Michelle, and Denise are smart, thinking those are the final three. I mean, that's really their only route. Maybe you could swap Ben with Denise and then those three. I mean, it'd kind of be unfulfilling for us as viewers, but from their point of view, that's kind of their only shot at this point. And then you could go the other way. I mean, Jeremy, Tony, band together with Sarah and say, hey, we're going to have a power three going in. That'd be exciting, but I don't think any of those three want that because kind of lessens their chances of getting that $2 million if they sit next to all of those power players. So I'm just really looking forward to it. Almost any combination at this point, I'd be happy for, even if those three lower tier players get to the end. I mean, if they manage it, if they're able to do it, then I guess they deserve to be there. So I'm looking forward to everybody else's feedback. And until next time, Justin from Michigan. Bye.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, Cass caused a lot of controversy with tweeting out about Tony's bent elbow. Of course, she's got an axe to grind against Tony and a lot of people, it seems, but in particular, she said that production was helping him by allowing that. Some of it's camera angles, I noticed, because you can see, depending on where the camera is, which camera they're leveraging for the shot. It looks like other people have their arm bent too. So Joanne was quick to point it out when we were watching even the preview video that it looked like his elbow was bent. But I thought I saw the same for some of the other people. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of, hey, productions making so-and-so the winner theories. There is a lot of leeway with how they can structure things, but I don't necessarily think that's the case. And in the long run, over the 40 seasons, you don't see a whole lot of evidence for those kind of things. Not that it's not there. Production can have minor impacts that build up and have a major impact at the end of the season through their influences and just in how they ask questions. All that's a possibility, and I'm definitely not ruling it out if they had favorites or they were trying to push things in a certain direction. So you got all these theories that you're constantly working with. Having people step down for treats is certainly a better indication of how their game was going. Thanks, Justin. Next up, we got a call from Kyle.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy and all the Survivor fans at home. This is Kyle from Calgary, Canada, calling with this week's feedback. Overall, I thought it was an okay episode. My same complaints stand. Too much time at edge of extinction, and the tribals are getting a little bit too boring and crazy for me. That's pointless. Why do it? On that coconut challenge, I, for one, am not a fan of these extreme endurance challenges that they seem to be so keen on doing. It is a risk versus reward thing, but it's not really fun watching a bunch of people put themselves through those kind of conditions just to get a few fire tokens. I don't know. It's not my cup of tea, and I hope that they don't do it very much going forward and in future seasons. Also, Rob doing what he did, I don't know if I understand his point of view in terms of finishing the challenge. I do understand you got to finish what you start, and it's probably boring out there, so what else are you going to do? But it's a game of endurance out there just in itself. So why put yourself through all that if you know that you've got some things coming up that you might want to conserve your energy for? Otherwise, maybe they're foreshadowing something that he doesn't give up on something and maybe gets through. I don't know. Also, back onto Tribal. The secrety, whispery nonsense, that's getting real tired. I really hope that they fix this somehow for going forward on new seasons, because I think it takes away a lot from the strategy and the engagement of the audience, because really we don't know what's going on. I mean, sure, Jeff doesn't know what's going on either, but part of the fun of that sort of third act of each show is seeing how they're going to vote and see how the plan comes together, and don't forget all of those really fun times that we've had in Tribal before, where Jeff asks the questions and you get some character from these castaways. So let's hope for some more straightforward Tribals down the road and in other seasons. So that's it for me. I hope everyone is staying happy, healthy, and well, and wash your hands. It's just good advice in general, and we'll talk to you guys later. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Good job. Thanks, Kyle. Next up, we got an email from Mike in Omaha. All Survivor friends and fans, I really don't know who's going to come out on top of this thing. This is an incredible season, despite the fact that I didn't much care for this last episode. I could have done with none of the Edge stuff personally. On the positive, if everyone's going to whisper at Tribal Council, at least CBS had the decency to subtitle it. Last week I said Sophie going home weakened the chances of a woman winning this season, and I still hold by that, but it's hardly impossible. While a lot of these players haven't been receiving bad edits, the only one left who has been receiving a winner's edit would be Tony. Now, I like Tony at times, despite and not because of his antics. Still, I cannot help but think there's just no way these players will allow him to reach the end. I think the same is true of Jeremy. I sense that the only way either sees Day 39 is together as some kind of meat-chilled understanding alliance thingy. Nick isn't going to win, but I do feel this is further evidence that he does know how to play this game and is a good winner. Ben is literally a hero, and I thank him for his service. He finds idols with his work ethic, but lacks overall emotional intelligence apart from giving me a chuckle about once a season and knowing he's a great guy. I'm not a fan of his gameplay. I don't foresee either one winning this game, but Nick or Ben might make it to the end and just not pull out a victory. I always thought Sarah was an incredible game player, and this season only cements that truth for me. I think she's got a real shot, but I think she needs to unburden herself of Tony if she wants to see that check. Michelle is a difficult case as she was last time. She's been shown to play a good game, and yet wouldn't we have seen more of her gameplay if she wins this thing? This brings me to Denise, who I desperately want to see win. By no means have I kept this a secret. I know Jeff Probst is a fan of hers. He keeps saying how this is the best season ever and the winner is amazing. I feel like Denise, more than any of them, fits that criteria. Even in the Philippines, she wasn't exactly shown to have the lion's share of confessionals, but instead was shown making key moments of strategy and decisive moves that led to her win. I hope she continues to be forgotten about and undervalued as a player, and then ninja strikes everyone and makes off with the check. I'm looking forward to seeing who the last returnee is, but I don't think whoever it is will actually win. The Underwood miracle is a once-in-a-lifetime sort of thing. As happy as I was to finally get a perfect score for the week on JSFL, I found myself saddened to see Kim go. I've never been able to decide exactly where I stood on her, but she is a great Survivor player. Joanna Stacy, thank you again for all your incredible work. Please, everyone, stay safe and be kind to each other. Thanks, Mike. Good job, buddy. Next up, we got a call from Nicola-n-Jackson.
Hi, Survivor family.
This is Jackson and Nicola.
We have Poppy with us this morning, too. We actually came down to our land and we're camping out in the house that we're building. It's very much like Survivor, except it's a decent roof over our head, but we have no electricity. We do have a flushing toilet, so that's a bonus. But it is kind of cool. But the sun's coming up this morning, and it's a beautiful day. We're going to work out here. So, what did you think of Survivor this week, Jackson?
I loved that challenge when they had to fall for the cookies. Why would anybody fall for the trick to actually make them come down? Tony won 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Jeremy needs to get voted out. I want him to go home.
Oh, dear. Who do you want to win now? We still have Denise as our USB, although she's been rather quiet lately, although she did get really mad at Jeremy, didn't she, at Tribal Council?
Yeah.
Because she was ready to vote. She just had enough. I don't blame her, too. The whispering is just getting ridiculous at Tribal Council.
Yeah.
At least they had subtitles this week. We could kind of follow what was going along.
Because, wait, who voted for...
Kim got voted out this week. She wanted to vote Jeremy out.
Well, Jeremy?
Mm-hmm.
No, the other...
Well, she wanted to vote Tony out at first, but he won immunity, so she couldn't do that.
Who plan busted?
It did bust it. And why did it bust?
Because Tony won 3 times in a row.
It did that, and because she stepped down for peanut butter and cookies. And chocolate. It would be so tempting. I have to admit, I would probably step down. But
I probably wouldn't. I would just let the bucket fall on my head.
you would just hold your arm up so long.
Yeah.
How about that coconut challenge on Edge of Extinction?
Oh, man, I did not like when Bob cracked his elbow.
Yeah, that looked pretty sore, didn't it? All right. Well, I guess that's it. We will talk to you all next week.
Bye.
Bye, Survivor fans. Take care. Be healthy. Thanks for all you do. Healthy at home. Thanks for all you do, Joanne and Stacy.
Thanks, Nicola. Thanks, Jackson. We enjoyed that. Next up, we got a call from Ann and John.
Hi, Survivor fans.
Hi, Survivor fans. I'm John.
And I'm Ann. So, John, what did you think of that immunity
The
challenge?
challenge was crazy where to hang your arms on that thing and, like, if you lowered it down, then it would let go, sort of. And then, like, the bucket would fall and then it would be out. That was cool. And we thought that Kim was going to win and Tony. We sort of were right and sort of not. Because Kim just gave up.
Yeah, that was sad. And then she got voted out because she gave it up.
Yeah, she got voted
But you were excited about Tony winning.
Yeah, because he won 3 times in a row. And I picked him.
And do you want him to win the whole season?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want him to win every single Survivor.
Every immunity?
No, every Survivor. Then he's going to be the winner of Survivor.
Okay. Yeah, Sophie's out, who was my winner pick, and I mean, Tony's looking good, but he's also real high profile, so I'm not sure he's going to be able to manage that. I don't know. I can't believe there's only 2 episodes left. That's so sad. Anyways, we're just keep on keeping on here with our distance learning, hanging out at the house. Hope everybody is staying safe, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Excellent. 2 episodes, but 5
hours.
There you go.
I was going to say that too.
Yeah, that's how you want to look at that.
That's right. Up next, we have an email from Liina from Estonia. Hello, everyone. This was a funny episode, and I laughed a lot. What is going on? Actually, I've thought all this season is going to be like this. The funny moments are the bird pooping on Tony, Ben hiding his idol, Ben running with Tony in his arms, Sarah punching Tony, Nick getting busted by Tony about the Tony vote, the live tribal, Jeff the commentator, and Tony with his idol offers. I liked this episode a lot.
I think there's a theme there in her observations.
Yeah. My USB has been, I'm doing better than I thought I would. I can't wait to hear what everybody else thinks. In other news, I started a Survivor marathon on the 17th.
All right.
Last week, I was so into it that I forgot to send in my feedback.
That's commitment.
I'm on season 10 now and added the podcast to the marathon. Your voices have changed so much, but it has been 15 years. I'm really loving it. Stay safe, everyone. All right. Thanks, Liina. Next, we have a call from Noelle-n-Immie.
Hi, everyone. Noelle.
And Amy.
Calling from Albuquerque. Immie, what did you think of that episode?
I really liked the challenge. I love when they do it. I especially love when they make it harder for everybody.
I wish Parvati was in the game because she always wins that challenge. It makes me so sad every time they bring out a Parvati challenge like that because she's on extinction. It's like a cold reminder.
Yeah, I loved when Ben was trying to hide the idol from Tony.
That was funny.
And then Tony's like, dude, I saw you.
I think the only thing that can stop Tony now might be Ben, because Tony seems to trust him, and Ben seems to be very untrustworthy. He's always telling everybody everything.
Is medical gonna come for Rob? I mean, because he said he broke his elbow, so I mean, that must hurt a lot, right?
They could at least give him a Band-Aid, I think.
Yeah. And I feel really bad for Ben in the challenge because he was so close to getting the peanut butter and chocolate.
I know, that was so sad, poor guy. Can't believe Tony's won 2 in a row? Is it 2 in a row or 3 in a row? Oh my gosh, he's unstoppable. He has an idol. I mean, pack it up. Tony's won.
Yeah, basically. I liked the challenge on extinction where I saw that in the clip it had Tyson and Parvati tying, so I thought that was really cool.
I was so proud of my girl Parvati for being part of the winner's circle that got the 2 extra tokens. She and Natalie, they are the Bill Gates of Extinction Island. They are so good at racking up those tokens. I really want to see one of them get back in.
Yeah, the shorter people always win the hand challenge. Because, I mean, Denise and Tony won, right? And Denise is kind of short. No,
Denise is very short.
Yeah. And Tony is short.
Shorter than the other guys.
Yeah.
Probably much taller than us.
Yeah. It was super funny when Nick was lying to Tony because he looked to his left like multiple times.
He did such a bad job that it made me surprised that he won his season.
Yeah.
I just think he was caught off guard, but that was really bad lying. really, really phenomenally bad. Let me try to remember.
When Sarah said she was done with Tony, me and my mom knew that she wasn't done with Tony, but she was just, I'm finished.
What we're saying is the preview was misleading because she said, I'm done, and the preview made it look like her and Tony weren't going to be in alliance anymore, but we speculated that maybe what she was saying was her game was done, that he had sunk her, because, she said, you sunk my game, I'm done. That's how I interpreted it, and I think I was right.
Yeah. I am very nervous about Rob's broken elbow because I'm really scared that he's going to get medevaced because there's still a lot of people left in the game and the finale is coming closer and closer. So are they just building up Rob getting medevaced?
I really hope not. I hope he can hang in there for 10 more days.
They speak of the double vote out. What do you think of that, Mom?
I love double vote outs. They're way more dramatic. I'm glad it's going to be a 2-hour episode. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. I hope you're all being safe and healthy.
Bye.
Thanks, Noelle. Thanks, Emmy. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. It's Drew. I remember this week's, funny thing, what reminded me, so our washing machine, our clothes washer broke the other day, so that's awesome. Mid-cycle, it was a long story. But today, the water's been sitting there kind of standing soapy water. It's kind of stinky, so I was trying to empty the water. But how did I have to do it? It was like a Survivor challenge, guys. I was doing 1 bucket at a time, or 1 cup at a time, trying to get as much in the cup as I possibly could, so it was as few trips as possible. So I had to go from scooping the water into a bucket and then fill the bucket and then take the bucket over to the toilet so I could dump it in. So this is like a Survivor challenge. How much water can I get to make this as efficient as possible and as quick as possible? Luckily, I wasn't competing against anybody. But anyway, the point of this is that it reminded me to call in with my feedback. I thought this was an okay episode. I'm not on the Tony train. If I were a Tony fan, I would be all in right now. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people in the listener feedback are. But I actually had Tony to go this week, and the reason why is because, everyone's thinking that this edit is setting him up for a big win, but I was thinking, what if that's kind of obvious, it seems like, because he's getting such a positive, favorable, powerhouse edit. What if the edit is setting him up for a big fall, and maybe he'll get voted out just before the finale, or at this point, right after he had this great Tony episode last week. So I thought that was going to happen, and there was such a good chance of it until Nick screwed everything up. And I'm going to blame this completely on Nick for just stepping out of that challenge. Because who knows? He could have won. And you guys, they stepped down seconds before the challenge ended. They didn't even hardly have a chance. I think Kim, I hate when people say, oh, I have no regrets. If I go on there and I get out, I'm positive I'm going to have regrets. Even if I win, I feel like I'll probably have regrets. I wish I had done this differently or that differently. So it's like one of the worst cliches that drives me crazy. But so I was really glad that Kim fessed up and said, I regret it. I shouldn't have stepped down. And they're all sitting there trying to get rid of Tony. And so they all step out of the challenge. I guess for the women, it didn't matter because there was a winner for each. But yeah, Nick, that was so stupid. In fact, I was thinking of giving the loser of the week to Kim just by default. but instead I think I'm going to give it to Nick because that was just I blame him entirely for me losing my points. The winner of the week, I guess I'm going to give that to, I kind of don't want to give it to Tony again, so I think I'm going to low-key give it to Jeremy for not playing that 50-50. That was this week, right? You guys, the weeks, the days, the months are all blurring together. I can't remember things, but I'm not even like so into Jeremy because I feel like he and Ben are having this tiff and it's really annoying. So, but yeah, I'm all over the place right now. I got a ton of stuff to do. It's Saturday. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. Please, please, please go outside if you can. Look at the sky, breathe fresh air, walk if you can, run if you can. Just do what you can. I did a virtual 10K this morning and haven't run that distance in quite a long time, so it was really, I don't know, cleansing, therapeutic. It was good. So anyway, have a great one and talk to you guys next time. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, Drew. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy, it's David in Pittsburgh. Well, that was another good episode. I think a pretty straightforward one with a couple surprises. One, Ben finding an idol, and two, Michelle offering her 50-50 to Jeremy. I thought that was pretty interesting. A couple things about this episode. First, never, never, never drop out for food. I think we've seen it before. I think it was with Ozzy, where somebody is confident they're going to make it. They drop out for food, and then they get voted out. So when Kim did that, I thought right away, she may be sealing her own fate. But one of the things I want to talk about is Denise and what's going on with her and Jeremy. At one time, she saved Jeremy with one of her hidden immunity idols. So I'm wondering, did anything happen between the two of them to sour the relationship, or was he just a number to her? I don't get it, because in week 10, he left. So we don't know who she would have voted for. Week 11, she voted against him. And then week 12, she voted against him. So, and I've seen her sort of on the outskirts of the main group. Wouldn't it have been more strategic for her to keep working with Jeremy and Michelle and Kim? And I don't know. It just seems like something happened, and I'm just not sure what that was. And then at Tribal Council, she looked like she was really irritated with Jeremy, but I'm wondering if she was just irritated with the way the talking and whispering and running around was going. I heard somewhere or read somewhere that it sounded like he was threatening her when he said, you know, you're only safe tonight. But I didn't see it that way. I think he was saying, think about it, you know, who you align yourself with, because you've got immunity tonight. But the next tribal council, you won't have it. You're going to need to count on people you're working with. Last week, I said in my ranking of who's moving up, who's moving down, I said Michelle, Denise, and Ben were going down. Well, now I still think Denise and Ben are going down, even though it's possible Ben's going to end up maybe in the final four, final three with Tony and Sarah. But Michelle definitely moved up a notch with her move with Jeremy. And the fact that she also voted for him, I thought was a shrewd move. But I'm thinking of people who made big plays, and Tony, Sarah, and Denise are the only ones who come to mind. So some of the players like Nick and Ben better do some smooth moves if they want to make it to Soul Survivor. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks, David. You'll recall that when Denise protected Jeremy, I wouldn't say she necessarily saved him, since he wasn't at jeopardy in that tribal council where she voted out Sandra. He voted for her. So that might have been a wake-up call for her.
Could be.
She was willing to protect him. He was more than willing to vote her out when he thought it was a sure thing. Thanks again, David. Next up, we got an email from Connor and Yazz from Northern California. Well, that was the Tony show, and it was quite enjoyable. Sure looks like he's getting the winners at it. I'm still not 100% sure that Tony getting Sophie voted out and turning on his solid alliance was a great move. I personally feel like getting Jeremy out and sticking with his group would have been a smarter move. Not sure why he did that. Seems like the blowback wouldn't be worth it. One thing I don't quite understand is why Ben is so angry with Jeremy and why he won't talk to him. Can you enlighten me? Do you have anything to add for that?
Yeah, I don't know why he's so angry at Jeremy. I really think that it's because he's just so frustrated because he thinks he absolutely cannot win at all if he gets there with Jeremy.
Yes.
And he can't get other people to see this, and they just won't get him out, and he's just very frustrated, and it feels like he's just taking it out on Jeremy.
They've been on opposite sides of things, so.
Well, yeah, but
Ben's,
still, to be that intense.
Ben believes that he's greatly improved his game by being more social. He mentions that in the extra clip this week, although he's talking about going back to his ways for finding idols, which he confirms that he had turned off this season. He hadn't been actively hunting.
No, he was helping other people find them.
Yeah. In any case.
I don't think that won him anything, but.
No, definitely not.
But that's all I got. You know, I really don't know why he seems so angry toward Jeremy.
Yeah, we can't offer a lot of help there. Okay. Watching with 2 kids, one of whom is a chatterbox, Hunter, I miss a lot. Whatever the reason is, he needs to let it go. We certainly agree there. He's acting like a big baby, and this is a competition where you need to work with people. Suck it up, Ben. I don't feel like he is really playing a very good game, just being carried along. Watching the challenge on the edge bothered me in numerous ways. Mainly, we lost time with the players still in the game, but also seeing how emaciated Danny is was disturbing. I'm worried about long-term health damage. She looks like she's literally starving to death. I was very impressed with Sophie and, of course, Nat, who is a freaking beast physically. How is she still looking so muscular and still has meat on her bones when everyone else seems to be wasting away and she was first out? Well, she's got a lot of money for food, so that could be part of her secret.
Be jars of peanut butter.
As for Tribal, I was really hoping Kim would pull it out and Jeremy would be voted out. He was our vote out. We never seemed to be able to get that point. Also, I really like Kim and feel she's been playing a good game. Disappointed to see her go right after Sophie, who I also feel was playing a better game than many of the men left. Ben and Nick are lucky to still be there. Let's be honest, they are goats at this point. I hope the producers institute a rule starting next season that at Tribal the players can't get out of their seats to congregate and whisper to one another. They have hours and hours to come up with plans. This is a TV show, and it really is not fun to watch. Also, I missed Jeff's questions and seeing the players respond and interact with one another. This season's Tribals have been the least enjoyable of any season for me. So here's Connor's write-up. He's 10 years old, 11 on Tuesday.
Ooh,
All
happy
right.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Connor. No birthday party in the time of COVID-19, though.
Oh, boo.
This was a crazy episode, like most of the episodes these days. First off, Tony is a madman. If he makes it to the end, he should win. Maybe Jeremy has a shot to beat him, but not very likely. For the Edge of Extinction, I think it was a waste of our time. The challenge looked really hard. Rob tried his hardest, even with that really bad gash on his arm. He finished the challenge, and I had a lot of respect for him doing that. For the immunity challenge, Tony wins again, 3 in a row. I'm kind of surprised Nick gave up for food. I think he could have beat Tony. Congrats to Denise for winning for the women. She is tough. Thanks for your fun podcasts. They're super enjoyable, even more so right now during this really difficult and anxiety-producing time. Thanks, Connor. Thanks, Yazz. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and y'all, Tony did it again. Tony and Jeremy. Oh man, that duo is my favorite duo ever. Oh my gosh. I've loved those two. They are running the show. I mean, Tony's running the show, but Jeremy, he's a close second. Oh my gosh. Those two. At the beginning of the episode, I'm so worried for Tony, and then he wins immunity again. All those people that just stepped off for chocolate and peanut butter and cookies. I'm like, what are you doing? This isn't Survivor of the Amazon. We're past this. But like, it makes sense for Nick because literally in David vs. Goliath, he chose that ugly plate of nachos over competing in the 6-hour challenge Christian one. So like, I kind of expected him to take the bribe. But I was like, dang, dude, you just guaranteed your target safe. What? And then Denise wins, and I'm like, yes, Denise. Because I love Denise. Can you imagine a final 2 with Jeremy and Tony. That's where dreams come true. And then what if Rob comes back from EOE, Jeremy, Tony, Rob? Oh my gosh! I think Probst would be really happy. Everybody else would be like, oh my God, worst season ever. Look, I know we need a female winner. It's time we finally have another female winner. The last one was Sarah. That was a bit ago. Come on. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna tell me that if Tony wins this, he's undeserving. Really? You're gonna start an internet fight with me because I say I love Tony? Yeah, no. I mean, probably, but, you know, I love my boy Tony, and I got full points this week. So, Kim's been talking about Tony a lot, you know, and she started getting a lot of confessionals out of the blue, you know. We normally know what that is leading to. If you haven't been getting a lot of confessionals, and then all of a sudden you start getting confessionals, but then, man, I was a little worried at the beginning. Oh, freaking Sarah. Can we vote her out? I was starting to enjoy her more this season than I was previously, like in Game Changers and Cagayan, but gosh, she's back to being so annoying again. She literally said, if we don't vote off Kim, then Nick is going to go with the girls and we're screwed. But we should still take out Jeremy. What? What? What are you doing? It doesn't matter if you screw over Ben again, because you still don't have numbers. If you still have Ben and it's just you three, that what are you thinking, Sarah? Or clearly she's not. Man, I'm so annoyed at her. Next episode, 2 hour. Woo! Let's go, boys. Yeah, that's all I got. I will see you guys next time.
Excellent. Thanks, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Slappy.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy, it's Slappy McGee. Another good Survivor episode. Really enjoyed it. Although towards the end, during the tribal, it was kind of weird that they all voted for Kim and we really didn't have a scent of it. I could have sworn that Jeremy was about to go. When he put that 50-50 advantage back in his pocket, I was like, no, don't do it, Jeremy. But I don't know. He read the room better than I did. Of course, he was privy to a lot more information than we were because the editors really left out the fact that Tony's plan worked and it got Kim out. So moving forward, I think Denise is probably the one most in trouble. I think they wouldn't have shown that thing with Jeremy if she wasn't planning on leaving the next episode or two here. So I feel bad. She's playing that under the radar game, but I think she's gone next time. And Michelle is also close to that because she's also playing that under the radar game. I'm not really sure. I think, Sarah might be in trouble with Tony, or he might carry her through, and Nick, I don't know. I think it's tough. You think, oh, this person, well, that person. Because I think Ben also might be in trouble too. But if I had to put my dollars down, I would say Ben and Denise are probably going to go the next episode. But we'll see. We'll see what mood I'm in when I put my picks in. And I got all 5 points last week. So excited. Although, Stacy, I think you got that as well. So it didn't really help me move up. You're going to beat me again. Unless Tony wins, maybe I'll leapfrog you with a Tony win. I don't know. We'll see. It's fun to watch. I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to hear what the other Survivor fans say. They are really coming with some good knowledge. Make me laugh, man. There's some funny people you got calling in. That's pretty awesome. And happy to hear that more kids are calling in, too. So these kids are the future of our Survivor. They're the ones that are going to go on and become these Survivor finalists, and we'll use them to beat Stacy. That's what we'll do. When they get on, like, oh, I remember when they used to call it on Joanna and Stacy show. Anyway, thanks so much for all you guys do. I'm going to head out of here and slap you out.
Good job, Slappy. Next up, we got a call from Andrew.
Hey, Joanna and Stacy, it's Andrew from West Virginia, or as Stacy calls it, coal country. Thank you for acknowledging that West Virginia is in fact its own state, and not just a part of Virginia. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to explain that. I'm really over Ben's attitude towards Jeremy. I mean, if you look at the ground picture here, he's mad at Jeremy for not being out of the game. That's just really childish. And furthermore, even if it comes down to gameplay, I mean, you would think that at this caliber of playing, they'd be able to differentiate between the game and personal feelings. But again, I'm not playing this game, so I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. If we're going to speak about Ben, I will say that this season has really shed some light into his gameplay in general. Throughout this season, he kind of seemed like really maybe really irrational, a little bit really unpredictable, really just like untrustworthy. But if you listen to interviews from people like Chrissy Hoffbeck, they actually explain that that is a part of his gameplay and it's not accidental. Like, that is very intentional, and there's definitely a method behind his madness, and I can definitely see that now, especially watching his gameplay over this season. Has it made me more of a fan of him? Probably not. Do I understand him more? Absolutely. Michelle, Kim, and Nick, let me say, Michelle, I still love you, but you guys, I cannot believe that. I am at a loss for words. I mean, Kim, you had that challenge in the bag. It was one male and one female winner. I don't understand how you could not have gotten a better chance at winning that. And you ultimately went home for it. I think that obviously that was Kim's fatal flaw this season, was she stepped down for that chocolate and peanut butter, but maybe it was worth it. I mean, that was a $2 million plate of peanut butter. Chaos Cass tweeted this week that she thinks that Tony had an unfair advantage at the immunity challenge because his arm was not straight up and down like everybody else's. Go back and look at the picture. It does appear to be that way. Now, however, that doesn't mean that he wasn't twisted a different way, or that doesn't mean that he wasn't on his tippy toes, but I will say the picture is valid. And I'm not saying I agree with her, but I think it's interesting. What do you guys think? Wow, on the edge of extinction, like, they always talk about how brutal it is, but I think that we really saw how brutal it was this week. And I mean this in absolute no disrespect whatsoever, but Danny looks terrible. She just does not look healthy right now. Like, she looks like she needs help, like food. She needs food. It's scary to see these people put themselves through this, and it's, I mean, I commend them because I don't think I could do it. Seeing her fall through the rock, and Ethan slipping everywhere, and Rob falling and busting himself up, and everybody crying and sweating, and endurance runners getting lapped. It was a crazy week on the edge. And Kim leaving. I mean, Kim is one of my favorite winners. She definitely debatably played the most dominant winning game in history. Ultimately, this season, it just didn't work out for her. Anyway, hear from you guys soon. Hope you guys are all staying safe.
Thanks, Andrew. Next up, we got an email from Mary in Michigan.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's been a while since I've checked in. Just a little explanation. I'm a nurse and haven't had a lot of free time recently, as you can imagine. Well, thank you. We appreciate you. Mm-hmm. I have been watching and then listening, but usually not able to do so live, so not in time for feedback. Anyway, this was a decent episode. I did get all of my points.
Ooh, congratulations.
Only the second time this season. You and me both, girl. I was really all in on Tyson, so I've been heartbroken. But anyway, I think we're going to see Tony and Sarah stick together and expect that Michelle and or Nick make the finale. Michelle has no shot of winning, so I think anyone will drag her to the end now. I imagine we shall see Jeremy, Ben, and Denise head out next, although I don't know in which order. I'm anxiously waiting for the next Edge returnee for some excitement, to be honest, because this seems to be a super obvious Tony win now. I hope it's Natalie because she deserves it. I don't think she can win the game, but I'd like to see her get a little redemption. I'm going to flash back a moment to say that seeing Sophie go was my favorite moment of the season. I'm not a fan of condescension. Anyway, thanks for all you do, and I hope I can get this in next week too. Looking forward to hearing from all the super fans. Everyone stay safe and well. And you as well, Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, we got a call from Lisa.
Hello, Survivor fans. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Lisa from the UAE. And so one of the things I've been doing as far as my stay-at-home, lockdown, COVID fun time is I've been watching past episodes of Survivor. And so I watched Cagayan. And it's very interesting to see that there are a few parallels that you can make with how he played the game in Cagayan and how he's playing this game, Winners at War. And so it'll be interesting to see when this season is done, if we can lay them side by side and just see, because I think in Cagayan, he did go to the other side to get someone voted out, like he's done with Sophie, and now he's back to his original alliance to get Kim out, which he did in Cagayan as well, I believe. So that's it's been interesting to watch that. He's playing that game again, and yet he's able to, because he's winning all the immunities, right? And even this evening, or this last one, he won the immunity challenge. I was really surprised that everyone just kind of stepped down, and almost gave him the immunity on the silver platter. Well, maybe I'm going a little far with that, but I was really surprised. 3 people stepped down. I'm not surprised so much with Michelle, but Kim, I was really shocked that she stepped down. I thought she would have been a little bit more of a, I need to be able to know that I'm safe tonight kind of idea, and I think she could have won the challenge. I know Denise is strong, but I think Kim had a really good chance of staying up there and winning, and Nick falling down, I know Nick said that he was probably about to fall down, but also just stepping down, and Tony got it. So he's safe. So I think even next week, I think Tony will be safe, at least for 1 vote, because he has his immunity idol. And who knows, he's been doing well with these immunity challenges, so maybe he'll continue with his run. So I think maybe for 1 of the votes, Tony will be safe, but not both of them. It's really hard for me to choose who is safe and who's not. I was thinking maybe Michelle will be safe, and that's the only one I could say, possibly be safe. I don't know even who I want to go home at this point. I think I want Ben to go home, but yeah, we'll see what happens there. Is the person from Edge of Extinction going to come back next week? Is that not what's going to happen? I believe so. Then now I'm trying to figure out too who's going to be the one to come back into the game, and that'll make a really interesting mix as well into it all. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, but it's been really fun to watch. I mean, and it's neat to have, like, in every episode a couple of giggle times where it's just delightful to see, like Tony getting pooped on and Adam like, boy, did you just jump? Sheesh, I can't believe you did that. So I'm getting a lot of delight in this season, so look forward to hearing what you all have to say.
Thanks, Lisa. We're getting a lot of delight from you too. Yeah.
Well, and to answer her question, I don't think we're going to know who comes back from the Edge until the finale episode, because
of the days.
Yeah, Jeff said day 36 is when that happens. And so even if it were the 2 hours, if they covered 3 and 3, as far as days, it won't get us to day 36. So it's just going to make it harder in your choices for the finale.
Because it's all about making JSFL picks.
Yes, it is.
Thanks again, Lisa. Let's check in with Rebecca.
Bye-bye, my USB Kim. When you stepped down for that cookie, knew you weren't gonna win. If you wanted to be Tony, girl, you had to stay in. What a mighty pricey cookie, dear Kim. What a mighty pricey cookie, dear Kim. Kim, seriously.
All right.
I am reminded last night's episode of Healers versus Hustlers, when every night they come back from tribal council and be like, we have to beat Ben. We cannot let him go on. Okay, let's all go to sleep now and just rest on our laurels. And then Ben would get up and he'd find an idol and he'd live another day. I was watching last night so frustrated because everyone's like, we have to stop Tony. So this is what we're going to do. Nothing. And we're going to just hand him immunity. I just could not figure out for the life of me, why did you step down, Kim? You had to get immunity. You were going to go out. She had to know that. I guess Nick stepping down, he just felt confident. But I never, ever, at that point in the game, would have stepped off an immunity challenge as a $2 million cookie. Tony did flip everyone, and this is his game to win unless somebody could rally and make a move against him. He is the only one who's really raging strong, and everybody else just seems like they're just kind of tired and just keeping up, except for Denise. I feel like Denise is super fighting, even though I put her as a vote off this week, but I couldn't put my USB as a vote off. That just couldn't do it. My favorite part of the episode was Talk to the Hand with Denise. Tiny little bossy Denise. I love her. Probably because I identify with her, because I'm also tiny little bossy. I feel like this would be the perfect moment for Ben to break away and try to cut off Tony's head and take control of the game. He has an idol. He has been Tony's ear. He's totally in cahoots with him. If he wanted to make a huge move and turn things around, it's his for the taking. It was a great episode in a lot of ways. It was really frustrating in some ways. For the first time, Edge of Extinction, I was just completely over it. And the whispering at Tribal Council, I didn't mind as much this week because there were subtitles. I'm so sad I lost my USB. That was the stupidest move, Kim. Stepping down for a cookie. Really? Oh, honey. I expected more. All right, you guys, have a great week. Thank you for everything. I'm so sad there's only 2 episodes left. I have no idea who to vote for, but it's been that way for a while. Oh, you know what I think I do want to do is I want to get that Dakota first place person's number and, just text me who you're voting off. I'll follow your lead because your stats are amazing. Wow. Okay, bye.
Thanks, Rebecca. We enjoyed that song. That was really well done.
I really don't believe that Kim thought she would go home right up until Tribal Council. Because I think she thought it would be, even if Tony did win immunity, I think she thought it would be Jeremy, not her.
I think you could finish that sentence early and say, I don't think Kim thought.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Rebecca. Let's check in with KimJ.
Hey, Joe and Stacey. It's KimJ from Nashville. I did very much enjoy this week's episode again. I'm glad they gave us some subtitles this week and all the whispering at Tribal. That was very helpful. I still don't exactly know about Nick because he clearly says to Sarah, Tony told me to vote for Kim, but I'm voting for Jeremy. But then, of course, he ends up voting for Kim. So what's in it for Nick is the question. And I heard on another podcast that somewhere on social media, Nick said that he flipped his vote at Tribal. So it begs the question of, did Ben come in ready to vote Kim as well? Or did he also flip his vote at Tribal? It's just a lot of information that we just don't know. I'm really missing exit interviews yet again just to get any kind of insight into the gameplay, because whatever Nick said has since been deleted. Like, they just don't want us to know anything, and I just want to know what's going on. Is that too much to ask? Okay, so, the stuff before Tribal, like, in San Juan del Sur, like, Natalie comes up to Jeff's podium and she's like, Jacqueline, did you vote for who I told you to? And then she plays the idol in, like, this really great boss move. But, like, this week, it was totally entertaining and great TV, but, hey, Jeremy, did you vote for who I told you to? Hey, Sarah, you feel good? What do you think? Oh, I'm going to play the idol. No, I'm not going to play the idol. Jeremy, ooh, I think I'm going to play it. No, I'm not going to play it. That's just too much, don't you think? You guys, what do you think? You think it's too much stuff before Jeff reads the votes? Like, I feel like you've got to be more decisive than that. Like, we've got to have, like, some kind of a clock, Like, not a literal clock, but you can't be that wishy-washy, I feel like, going forward. I also agree with you guys about the 2 immunities. Way too late in the game to have 2 immunities. I feel like they're constantly trying to replicate, like, Advantage Get-In or the No Vote Tribal from Cambodia. And you almost could have had it this time. I mean, you had 2 people who were safe. You had 2 idols in play in a 50-50 coin. So you could have as many as 5 people immune from the vote. If you have a tie vote and those 2 people then become immune, then somebody goes home by default. And I just don't like that. It's too late in the game to have 2 immunities. And especially for a challenge like this, like, I get it for that challenge where it's like based on your body weight, where they've got to hold that bucket of water. But in this challenge, I really miss those good long endurance challenges. It's one of the things I loved so much about David versus Goliath was that long challenge that they had with Christian and Alec. And I feel like this was a great opportunity and we just didn't get it. I mean, the challenge lasted 15 minutes, really? Like, I want a challenge to see who wants it bad enough. We just need 1 or 2 of those every season. And I know they had that log challenge to start, but with it raining and stuff, it clearly didn't last very long. Anyway, I'm excited to hear what everybody else says. I've got Denise and Jeremy going home, but I don't know.
Yeah, it could definitely break that way, huh?
Definitely, it could. I'm hoping, and they could take Ben out, but the fact that they were pointing at Ben on the next on makes me think it's not, though it still may be. They do that too. But
his idol may have something to say about that for one of them,
yeah,
at least.
Well, I was hoping that Denise, Jeremy, Michelle, and Nick would pull together and if they could get Tony, get him. But if he's got immunity, go after Sarah. And at worst case, at least take Ben out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to
get
more numbers.
Tony
Ben's
would play his idol for
flip-floppy.
Sarah again, since he's already offered to do that.
Yes, he could.
Yeah.
So, and now everybody knows Tony has an idol. They probably know Ben has an idol. If he hasn't actually told them, then, you know, he was saying to Sarah, should I play it? Should I play mine?
Yeah.
So probably somebody overheard that. And Jeremy, I couldn't figure out why he was making such a drama out of whether to play that or not play it externally. I could see him doing that internally, but doing it externally and showing his frustration, I first thought, well, maybe he wants people to think that what he has is an idol, so they won't come after him next time because he's got an idol. But if Tony knows, then Sarah knows. And if Michelle knows, Nick knows.
Well, Michelle
And so
gave it to him.
who
so
doesn't
she
know?
knows. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. She knows.
Okay.
So if she knows, at least Nick knows.
Yeah.
And then Tony knows, so Sarah knows. And so who were you trying to convince he had an idol? So
I don't know that he
thought,
was.
Well,
I
that
think
doesn't make sense.
I think he might have been more playing off Tony's energy with whether or not he was going to play for Sarah. That was
wasted
more,
or not wasted.
He kind of got caught up in all that.
Yeah, but I agree with you, KimJ, that I'm not sure why that was such a outward dilemma.
In any case, it didn't play off so well
it didn't.
for any of them from our perspective.
Except Tony, because Rob says
He's the boss.
he's the boss.
Yep. Thanks, Kim J. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the plush moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, another week, another episode of Tony TV. Will he make it to the end, or will he be in the Devon's role when the winner returns from extinction? My other observations. Sarah, keeping her cool, was terrifying. I'd hate to see her actually get mad. First, Tony's talking to Ben at night. Then there's a splat. Next time we see Tony, he's climbing up a tree to spy on folks. Yep, Tony literally went bat poop crazy. Tony's had spy shack, spy bunkers, and spy nests. The only options left are spy subs, planes, and satellites. Not even the professor could build those with island materials. I don't know if you've heard, but Ben doesn't want to talk to Jeremy. Sarah and Tony are in an abusive relationship. If she isn't berating or slugging him, she's threatening to leave him forever if she doesn't get what she wants. I hope we eventually get a payoff for this week's coconut run on the edge. A bloodied Rob finished the coconut run because he didn't want to be thought of as just another quitter with a big giant head. Early on, Jeremy was Ben's ride or die. Now Ben just wants to kill Jeremy's game. Nick tried to play Tony like a fiddle. Who was his music teacher? Jack Benny? Ben, I don't think a lot of people were going to catch a reference there. Ben and Tony's alliance entered the honeymoon phase when they found the idol. That's why Ben picked him up and went looking for a threshold to cross. Jeff said those who traded immunity for food could eat until the challenge was over, but Michelle and Nick hadn't reached the food yet when Tony won, and we got to see them chow down. Must be another season 40 thing, you bet.
Yeah, and as soon as Michelle and Kim gave up, Denise was a winner. So
Tony didn't want to get wet at the end of the challenge. Given the spells he's been casting on the others' games, he was probably afraid that he would melt. Nick has poor lying skills. It's good that he's a vampire and not Pinocchio. Yeah. Oh. Ben's playing a great antisocial game. Too bad Survivor values a social game. I'm glad this week's Whisper Fest was subtitled. I bet the jury wishes they had that. If he loses his hosting gig, Jeff can always get a job as a racetrack announcer. What was the point of Tony's and Jeremy's idol fake-outs before Jeff read the votes?
Yep.
Kim's sheesh spoke volumes. Next, a double episode. Time to whittle the cast down to the final five-ish. Will any of them actually win, or will Natalie snatch victory from the jaws of extinction? Anyway, that's it from me for now. Thanks, Joanna, Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hey everybody, it's Jeremiah here with some feedback for this week. Man, I tell you what, you guys, I'm enjoying the season so much. I know everybody else is pretty much enjoying it as well, but it's just so much fun watching all these high caliber winners playing against each other and really half the time having no idea what to do or know who to trust. And it's just been so much fun. And Tony, oh my gosh, what more can I say about this guy? I mean, I know not everybody likes him. I get it. He's not everyone's cup of tea. But hopefully everyone can appreciate what we're watching here, because you're not going to see this kind of high caliber player play all the time. I mean, he's a once in a lifetime. Can you imagine anybody else like Tony? No, I think Tony is a one-time deal here, and it's just been a delight to watch. Now, of course, there's a lot of people saying we're getting too much Tony now, and I understand that, but man, come on. If you were editor of Survivor or producer of Survivor, and you had all this amazing content from Tony, of course you're going to play all as much as possible. I mean, it's just how it is. He's too good of television. He's too compelling, and I really can't blame them. Now, a lot of people, of course, are now thinking that this is it. Tony's going to win. It's his game to lose, and that's why we're seeing so much of him. And that's possible. I mean, I am kind of leaning towards him still being our winner. But then again, he could be crashing and burning pretty soon, as you guys have speculated in the podcast. And I'm not leaning necessarily towards that direction, at least not this coming up episode. I know, of course, we have no idea when the person from EOE is coming back in, and that could be in next week's episode. And I kind of hope that, because I hate for it to happen in the finale, but we'll see what happens in the finale. But that's kind of a wild card, so who knows? But here's where my head's out for next week. I definitely think Jeremy is still going to be one of the ones that goes out. I think that, Tony was able to get Ben, which I know he probably didn't want to, but Ben went ahead and voted with them to keep Jeremy in and get out Kim. Well, I do think now Tony's going to show his loyalty back to Ben by getting rid of Jeremy. Now, once Jeremy's off the plate, I have no idea who the other person is going to be. You think maybe Michelle, but I think Michelle, for some reason, I think she's still going pretty far in this game. I don't think anybody's worried about her right now. So obviously Denise would be someone to consider going out that Sarah and Tony and Ben could be targeting. But I also think possibly Nick could be the other person, because, Tony really didn't like how Nick pretty much straight out lied to him. So that's kind of where my headset is at the moment. And we shall see. Obviously, hopefully maybe some of the other Survivor fans have some more things to add to this to make me think, but that is where my headset is at the moment. And that's pretty much it for me. That's all I've got. Can't wait to hear what everybody else has to say. And this is Jeremiah coming to you from Southern California from my car.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. I thought the irony of Sarah saying that she needed to keep her calm in confessional and then totally going off on Tony for multiple sessions was hilarious. This episode was the return of Cagayan Tony. He was just full of frenetic energy and just all over the place, talking to everybody, stirring the pot. It was so fun to watch. Nick totally blowing his cover over Kim's plan to Tony was just so uncomfortable. But I have to admit, if I'm being honest, that is so me. It's so relatable. I cannot tell a lie. I'm the most horrible person at doing that, and that would have been me. That is why I would never win Survivor. I cannot tell a lie convincingly. On second thought, maybe I could win Survivor, and Nick won Survivor, and he can't tell a lie convincingly. So, maybe I should submit my application. Kidding. I am not going to send in my application. I am going to watch and critique. I have to cry hypocrisy to Tony when he watched Ben find the hidden immunity idol and then give him grief for attempting to hide it. Like he should have found it and said, Tony, look what we found. Oh my gosh. Did Tony tell anybody that he found a hidden immunity idol right when he found it? Did Ben know about it right away? I'm trying to think back over whether Ben knew about it right away. I don't think so. I think Tony found it alone. He thought about who he wanted to tell, which in my opinion should be nobody, but At any rate, I thought it was really the pot calling the kettle black when he was giving Ben such grief over thinking that he might be able to hide it. That would have been my reaction too, to find it and kind of try to hide it. It's an instinct. You found something that's like gold and you don't want to share it. Ben was just thinking on his feet, but the thing is, Tony's faster on his feet than Ben is. But I'm happy he has an idol. I want to say something about these hidden immunity idols though, and JSFL. If one more person goes home with a hidden immunity idol in their pocket, I'm going to scream. I have lost more save points this season than I think will ever be possible for the rest of my life. And half of the reason that I have lost save points is that I look at the list and I see who has hidden immunity idols and I think to myself, there is a 100% chance that this person is not going home tonight because they're a good player and they have a hidden immunity idol and they would never let that go to waste. It happened to me with Sandra and it happened to me with Sophie. It just better not happen to me with Ben. Come on, Ben, play a hidden immunity idol correctly. I know he's annoying a lot of people this season on the podcast, but I'm really enjoying Ben. Well, that's it for me. I'm going to go make my JSFL picks, and I guess my pick for the vote-off will be whoever I think has a 100% chance of staying. So I guess I'm going to pick Ben for my vote-off. Till next week. Bye.
Oh, make sure to pick Ben and one more, because it's a double. Thanks, Jen.
I really do like Ben, too, myself. I'm not even sure why. I guess just because I think he's a nice guy, but I'm not sure I loved all of his gameplay and his inability to, shut his trap. But I have enjoyed him, and he has entertained me. So
there you have it. Thanks again, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here, and yeah, it was another All Tony episode because this guy is playing the game. Actually, I think he's being a bit too bold, and I wonder what the repercussions will be. I wish his spy nest panned out, though. I mean, we could have possibly filled that wasted time with info on who has what in terms of tokens, but no, let's just show a failed spy nest instead. Anyway, I was shaking my head at that extinction challenge because, let's face it was grueling, and I even think it's somewhat dangerous having to walk over that rocky and even wet terrain. Rob and Danny got off lucky with their minor injuries, but I hope we can avoid challenges like this in the future. Also, I have to wonder if they didn't have to relocate coconuts because the challenge makers who eat regularly were just too exhausted to cut more logs. Well, at least our players get the coconut water. Now, Adam, what is he good for? Absolutely nothing. Come on, man, you're like the youngest, spryest guy out there, and you let all of these older players run all over you. Which brings me to my question of the week. How the heck did he ever win his season? Just kidding, though. There's no need to cover any of that here. So, when it came time to do the immunity challenge, my heart sank when I saw that we had 2 idols up for grabs. I don't know. I just didn't feel that this challenge needed to be split by gender. Am I heartless? Maybe. But I think that the immunity challenges should be like the Three Musketeers. All for one and one for all. But in the end, Denise, surprise, surprise, won it for the women, and Tony, holy crow, won it for the men after Nick boneheads it with a bad, and I mean very bad decision to drop out. Now when he did that, I thought, he isn't going to get any peanut butter because he just ended the challenge. But since this is an all-winter season, I guess we're bending the rules a bit. Don't I vaguely recall when someone held out longer on a challenge after they'd won so that the rest of the people could eat longer? Okay, so that brings me to Tribal Council, where all hell broke loose yet again, and even Denise had had more than her fill of the bedlam and tried to stop the insanity. But I'll bet she could have put up with a little bit more of it had she not been safe, and I think Jeremy was smart to point out to her that she's only gold during this Tribal Council. So, what did our players learn? Well, the biggest thing should be that Tony was willing to give Sarah an idol to play. That sounds like a power couple to me. A second point of interest is that Tony reassured Jeremy that he had it all under control and that Jeremy didn't have to play whatever it was that he had in his pocket. This should tell everyone that Tony's the #1 threat in this game, but it should also tell them that he definitely has an idol. Normally an idol means that you then take aim on the right-hand man or woman, but Jeremy appears to have an idol, so what about Sarah? I think she's a definite target, and she will definitely be one of my 2 picks to go. Jeremy, hey, I've picked him for 3 weeks in a row, and it ain't a-working for me. He needs to lead the charge against Tony, because his meat shield has become a huge meat obstacle. Honestly, though, I'm not sure what to think, because I have no clue where all these cards that are in the air are going to land. I'm pretty sure of Sarah, though. And they need to split the votes. I can't stress this enough. They have to make Tony play that idol, or he's completely unstoppable with it in his pocket. Not that I care. I'd love to see him win. But if anyone else wants a chance, they need to get Tony out of this game sooner rather than later. And I guess that's where I currently stand. So there you have it. Wow, though, 2 hours next week. I cannot wait. Everyone take care, be safe, and bye.
Thanks, Paul. Good job. Yeah, it's got to be weighing heavy on everyone. Hopefully they recognize the threat that Tony represents. And if it wasn't clear before, it's got to be clear, like Paul was saying, after this last tribal council.
I don't know. You would think so. But I still don't understand why Nick dropped it. He was the only competition Tony had. Your goal was to vote out Tony that week. You can't do that if you hand him immunity, even for a token.
We certainly have enjoyed having a lot of these high caliber players in one season like this, but it goes to show, like we've said, that they risk tarnishing their reputation to a degree.
That's true.
Every time they agree to come back, and you get to see people who are people. They're fallible. And in a moment, they're weak, and they trade it for chocolate and peanut butter and cookies and milk. And, and I would never put Nick in the same category as Kim, but she went there before he did.
She did.
Yeah.
But I think she thought Michelle would stay in and Nick would stay in, and so she could afford to drop and eat. But then Michelle went, then Nick went. So it's like, okay, well, you just handed the necklaces over to Tony and Denise. So
Kim's known she was in a precarious position. So for her to make that decision in that split second, to step down when she actually saw what Jeff brought out, that's all on her. She never could have counted on anyone for anything. There's nothing that we've been shown, at least, about her game that suggested that she was in any way safe. So I got to see that as a moment of weakness. You expect them to always play perfect games at every opportunity, but the reality is they don't do that. They can't.
That's true.
They can't deliver at that
We're
level.
all human.
Especially with the competition like this and the advantages that Tony's been leveraging.
Well, I am still torn between what I think they should do, which is target Tony and Sarah, if the others want to have any chance, and that Sarah and Tony are going to want to keep Ben and Jeremy close to maybe pick off some of the others, or maybe they'll pull in Michelle, whoever they trust. But Tony doesn't want to vote off Ben. Tony doesn't want to vote off Jeremy. Now, they might change that if Ben starts playing more games. So I could see them switch and everybody decide to get Ben out as an easy vote.
Although he does have an idol.
Well, even more reason to get him when he's not expecting him. And I could see him do that, especially if Tony wins immunity. And they can't get that idol. But I could also see them holding Ben close, thinking they have more security with the two idols, and giving in to Ben's demands to go after Jeremy. But Tony likes Jeremy, and he likes that meat shield, I think. I think he feels like, too, that as long as Jeremy's in the game, Ben is just so crazy about that fact that he can't see anything else. Get Jeremy, get Jeremy, get Jeremy.
Yeah, it works to his advantage, doesn't it?
What about Tony?
So we're thinking that we've got 2 3-day episodes coming up, because that would line it up for the finale to be day 36, where they would begin with the Return from Edge of Extinction challenge. That all works out.
I would prefer that they end with that in this week's episode.
That would be preferable, but it's very unlikely, and it's not historically what they've done, because they want to have that return from the edge as part of the excitement in the finale.
Well, I keep thinking about the preview that shows them clapping when Yule is reading something, so that made me think, oh, maybe, but that doesn't mean it'll happen. That could be
exactly
that it's going to happen, but not.
So let's do a quick review. Tony's got an idol. Ben's got an idol. As far as we know, Jeremy's still holding the 50-50. And there's not going to be anything. They won't find any other. There won't be any other hidden immunity idols.
No.
What that very well could be on Edge, where they're clapping when Yule's reading off the letter, is something that they, some competition where they're going to be able to get some more fire tokens because they want them to have, and we could very likely see 2 of those. Because they want them to build up the opportunity to have fire tokens for the Return from Edge challenge. And that means that they're gonna have something to bargain with. So you could see something come in from Edge of Extinction once or possibly twice that could give Michelle, Nick, and Denise and Sarah, any of those 4, they might have some advantage. There could be up to 2 advantages introduced in this next 2-hour episode, 1 per episode.
Well, I feel like Denise is in jeopardy as well. Let's be real.
Absolutely.
It'd be real easy to pick her off next.
Yes.
And so I think she does need a little protection. So if she can get some, that would be great.
Because she's the only other one up there that I can see, like Tony, who's got a story and a resume, just like Sophie was eager to point out at the time.
And she did give Jeremy the hand, so.
Yes, and he was quick to state the obvious. And when someone states the obvious to you, that's not them helping you see things. That's them trying to bully you into, or you don't even make it bullying, but he was being very clear. You're only safe right now. And when someone says that,
you do realize
they're
that, right?
highlighting that you're soon not to be safe.
And you might not want to do that to me. But anyway.
Yeah, so we're going to see either 1 or 2 things come in from the Edge, advantages, possibly disadvantages, but I'm more likely to think of it as coming in as advantages. And I don't know that they're going to go to Tony, since the jury's able to see what a dominant game he's playing. They're going to look to disrupt things for their opportunity to return.
Yeah, because the people on the Edge know it's coming. And they're going to want to get as many tokens as possible.
Get tokens and
get advantages.
Disrupt what's currently going on with the active players. Yeah. You really want to, any way you can, weaken the strong players. You want to do that for your return.
Well, they may well, Rob seeing Tony as the boss, they may well be in conspiracy. Let's help get him out if there's anything we can do.
To have him
that
join
way,
us here.
Whoever goes back... then, he can't...
Right. The other thing I would
can't win.
I would add that you can see from the preview video that's out there right now is that the immunity, they show one immunity challenge, at least that's what we're thinking it is, and it's physical. It starts with a physical element. And when they do have that, so there maybe there's a puzzle at the end of that, because that's been such a strong pattern. That's not Tony's strong suit, puzzles. As someone was pointing out, that's the kind of thing that undermines him. And from that perspective, he may not show up at Tribal Council with his idol and having one individual immunity, if that's the kind of challenges that we could look forward to. Because the best case solution for him is that he's in that position again where he's safe, and then he can use his idol to protect Sarah. And that's a real big play. Ben's got an idol. Jeremy's holding the 50-50 and may decide not to give it back. So, and that could just as well be anticlimactic for him. He could flip it and end up going out, needing it and it not coming through for him. But that's a lot of power for them to have. I got to expect idol nullifier advantages coming in. Somebody's going to be looking for that. And who's got heavy pockets there that's active in the game right now?
Denise.
Exactly.
Nick does too.
Yeah, he does.
Michelle has. How many does she have?
She's showing 1. Yeah.
Oh,
and Sarah's got 3. Tony's got 2. Ben's at 0. Jeremy's got 1. From what we know.
So Nick and Denise are in the battle.
Yeah, Denise has got a lot of fire tokens for someone to potentially get, depending on how much Sophie and Kim share.
Well, I don't know where she and Jeremy lost their closeness. You were talking about how she played an idol to save him before.
To protect.
Yeah.
He didn't need saving.
But Jeremy now knows that not only did Denise give him the hand, she wrote his name down, as did Michelle, but he knew Michelle felt like she had to do that to cover herself in her own alliance.
And it garnered a token.
Yeah.
So that's if
But
you want to
she
spin
did
it positive for her.
tell him, and she did give him something to help. But she was still going to write his name down. So he's less likely to be angry with Michelle. Kim's gone. Denise is the only other one that wrote his name down.
Here's my theory. Tony does not win immunity because there's a puzzle at the end. Denise
Not
is,
that we know
is
that.
packing
We
an
don't.
advantage that's an idol nullifier, and she takes his idol out and ends up leading the charge to take Tony down. That's part of how Tony goes down.
Ooh, that
in
would
the
be
double.
lovely.
Now, I'm highly biased
For
because,
our USB.
Yeah, because but I was looking for.
Yes,
hey,
I was aware of that.
how do you get rid of Tony and Sarah? I was saying it for the other folks listening, not so much for you.
I know, but I knew where you were going with it.
Yeah, from that perspective, that's how that take Tony and Sarah out could happen. But you could lump, as I thought about it more, you could lump Ben or Jeremy in with Tony. Taking down them would probably be more impactful. I just don't think Sarah's got a story now. That's what's been running through my head lately. So it could very well be Tony and Jeremy or Tony and Ben.
I could also see them take out Tony and Ben, yeah. Because
Ben's got an idol, so you'd have to
Yeah.
come
Like
up with
you
something to
said,
compensate for
there's
that, or a way
nullifiers
to just get him not to play it
if
because
they
he's
got
going to want
him
to
the
hold
first
on.
time around when you wasn't expecting it, or
Yeah.
but who knows if they'll be able to blindside, or they get him to play it the first time, then he goes out the second time. You know, they make him think, no, we're voting you. You better play your idol. And so.
So fun, so exciting to think about.
But I would really like to see Denise and Jeremy work it out, and the two of them join up with Michelle and Nick, and try to go after the other three.
Yeah, although it's probably more likely that Ben would do that, even though Jeremy's smarter about
but
how
you
he
can't
plays.
trust what Ben says.
No,
He
even more
lies and he'll go tell Tony.
even more reason to keep him around, I guess, too, because no one values his gameplay when you can't trust him in that
More
sense.
reason to get rid of him because you can't trust
There you
him.
go. See how it goes? It's a push-pull. Yeah.
So I really haven't made up my mind yet, because that just keeps going through and through and through and through. In 1 minute, I'm convinced, yep, it's going to be this one and that
So
one.
many good theories that people shared this week. I loved all the insights. We want to thank everyone for taking the time to send in those thoughts and share your predictions. We enjoyed it. Got a lot to ponder as we get ready for this double elimination, double episodes, 2 hours. Good job, everyone. I want to say a big thanks to Tom for your donation, as well as Erica, Christy, Hazel, and Kenneth for your recurring donations this month. Thank you so much. That really helps us out with the support. We appreciate it.
And remember, if you're playing in JSFL, don't forget to make your picks for next week before the deadline of 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time on Wednesday. You will be making your 4 safe picks this week, plus 2 vote-off choices for the next episode, because we are assuming that there will be 2 people voted out.
Well, and that works numbers-wise.
Yes.
You'd end this double episode, this 2-hour one that we're getting this coming Wednesday with 5, and then you'd add one back in from Edge at 6, and then carry the 6 through to the finale.
And that's about as max as you can get.
Who knows, though? None of that's set in stone. We don't have any special information. That's
We
just
do
our,
not.
our guess, the way the calendar's working out.
Woohoo! 2 hours.
2 hours. Looking forward to that. And we'll see you back here with a recap after that. Have a good one.